Welcome everybody to the BluePrint podcast. I'm your boy DeAndre Hawkins, and alongside me are my guys Parker Bell, P Bell, my guy Cody Lou,
Yo,
and welcome to the first ever episode of the BluePrint podcast. Look, guys, this podcast right here, we're expecting it to make some noise. Everyone's been waiting on it, and I'm really excited to get this joint up and running with you guys because we got a lot, a lot of stuff.
nah, that's right.
Bankroll.
That's right. We got
And
a lot.
and these guys right here, man, obviously we met each other through work and we came up with the idea because we have a lot to say as far as what do we do, why the reasons why we want to do this podcast and why we feel like this podcast will grow and why the following that we need should be interested in this podcast. So Parker, if you want to go ahead and take over into why you think, well, what you do and, how you got yourself in this industry.
Yes, sir. Thank you, DeAndre. So like you said, we're excited to get this podcast going. And so we all work in the sports industry. If you can't tell, I got my Mamba hat on. My boy D's got his Eagles hat on. Cody, I bet that's some sort. It might be a golf hat. We'll see.
Yeah, it's municipal. Yeah, you know it. You know it. You know it.
So we all work in the sports industry. That's how we met. And the goal of this podcast is gonna really give you, whoever's listening, whoever's tuning in, an opportunity to see what it's like behind the scenes of young people trying to make it in this industry, while also having exclusive guests who, we won't spoil anything, but we're going to be having some big guests who will kind of show you the ropes as well.
LeBron James. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
You got to shoot high. You got to shoot high. So they'll be able to explain what it was like to get started in this industry and et cetera. So again, like Dee said, I'll start with myself. I'm Parker. I work in the sports industry. I'm trying to get into sports radio. So I've done a bunch of different things, filled a bunch of different hats in this industry so far. And I'm excited to just grow and see where I can go with you two, especially with this podcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the question's gonna be asked. How'd y'all come up with the blueprint? What's the reasons behind the blueprint? So, my guy Cody Lou, I know you want to elaborate on what the blueprint is about, what we are about.
I mean, absolutely. I'm Cody, by the way. I'm excited to be a part of this. And the thing is, like, we're called the Blueprint because we all started. All of us are in our early 20s. All of us are still really young, still trying to learn so much in the industry. But we kind of laid the foundation of what it's like to be a young, a young up and coming sports industry professional, especially at the company that we work at. A lot of us we're all really kind of young and excited to be in the sports industry, all ready to learn so much. And for the place where we work, for DeAndre, we're the first set of interns, and I started out not too long before them. So we're all kind of like all in the same area, doing the same things, and learning so much from professionals and learning so much from people that I'm sure you guys will be excited to listen to, like Parker just said earlier. But sort of like the blueprint, So when you build out a house or when you build out anything, you kind of need the blueprint to kind of build out what you see. And what I see is a bright future for this podcast.
Man, like it's just crazy because, uh, I never pictured myself being in this position early in this stage of of this career, of my career, I would say, because I'm pretty sure people in this industry received a lot of no's before they got that first yes. So, sometimes when you look at it, it's like, damn, man, like it's crazy how, the three of us, I can talk for the three of us, like we finally got that foot in the door and how it can lead to so much more in the future for what we're trying to do. Like, Parker, my guy right here, he's trying to be on air, sports radio, me, myself, I'm trying to be an on air guy. Cody Lou, he's a little bit, a little bit of everything. This guy right here, yeah, exactly. My guy's got a little bit of everything, but, I think, the guests that we have, the stuff that we have bankroll, in our own personal devices, and we just want to want to share, and show you how it is as far as, social media standpoint. Don't get me wrong, we're going to have some pop culture in there because our generation, we're all about that pop culture.
You got
So
to.
we're just not trying to be a focus of just social media. We're going to, everyone has different avenues in the sports industry. Like Parker said, we're gonna get some producers on here. We're gonna show you how it is to be a producer, someone running the board outs, all that stuff, man. It's really important in this industry. And, this BluePrint podcast is only gonna go up from here because I'm so excited. I get jitters, talking about this stuff, man, because even it's one thing to say to do this podcast, but actually doing it now is a start. And it's only gonna go up from here. So
That's right. That's right. There's only one way to go up. We're starting at ground floor zero. I don't know architect terminology, but the blueprint is starting. We're here and we're here to make noise, but we're just excited to be able to just let this knowledge that we're going to be learning, push it forward so that anyone who tunes in, you guys can also take this knowledge in, because that's something I wish I had, when I was starting school off early. I wish that I had somebody who was in our position very early in our career, kind of talking, putting out reps, what it's like, what's going through their head while they're trying to navigate this tricky industry. So I can't even express how excited I am. And I can't stress enough. I'm telling you guys, we're going to have some great guests. We are going to have some fire guests. Just be ready. Be ready. Stay on your toes.
It's funny because the three of us, we've been getting clowned on because like, when's the podcast going to start? And wow, we're working on it. We're working on it. Oh, the first thing you got to do is get that phone and record. So, the fact that we're doing it now, there's people who have been giving us, hell, we can finally tell you, hey, look, shut up. Because look, we're all on all social media platforms. We're on Instagram. We're going to be on Twitter. We're going to be on all social media platforms. We're going to, so those of you guys asking me, for the future, where the link at, we'll have it all up and ready. Hopefully by the end of the week, if not for sure, beginning of next week. So.
That's right. That's right. And now, D, we know you got yourself an important haircut, haircut appointment.
I ain't
Gotta
gonna
get
lie to you.
clean.
I did some work with my barber. You know what I mean? So kind of pushed it back a little bit. So if you guys want to keep this rolling, I'm all ready. So
Oh,
push it
look at
back a
that.
little bit.
Look at that. They
Yay.
already put the blueprint.
That's what you get at the blueprint. You get people pushing back their haircuts. They can't look fresh because they want to finish the pod. I respect that.
Come on now.
No, but actually, like it's super exciting to be a part of this. And I think it's the fact that we're all like kind of, Parker and DeAndre are looking to be like sort of in the similar field, but I know that they're still working a lot to like perfect other things in their career, and that'll only get them to higher places. And we all kind of come from like different backgrounds. Obviously the obvious is like, Parker's white, DeAndre's black, and I'm Asian. So it's like a good mix of like it's a good diversity to have on this podcast, just because like we said, we're going to talk about pop culture, and different things will kind of pop up, and it'll be fun to kind of have different conversations with people about things that you may not even like think about. So yeah, no, it's gonna be cool for sure. And we all like different, like I know Parker's a baseball guy, DeAndre's a basketball guy. I'd like to say we all dabble in like different sports. So like it's a good
I
knowledge
know
of everything.
I die off baseball a little bit. I'm still working on that, but
Yeah, we all dive into like different sports. So and in terms of the actual industry and like our experiences, like I'm not saying like we're like total like professionals like quite yet, but I will say we're definitely we're pretty well into the mix, I would say, for sure, on the things that we do and like the people that we talk to. So we're not just BSing about guests that we not to humble brag, subtle flex, but we will get some people that are obviously pretty big in the sports industry.
Yeah.
and don't get the key is that we do want to get guests on here, but I feel like once we get more established, get rolling, doing some more episodes, like I said, the games, the different events that we've done as individually and, as a team.
Hmm.
Uh, and they see the work behind what we do and how, the steps we take, the ideas we come up with, the whole concept, the job that we're trying to get done at the end of the event or game that we're at, they're going to understand. And it's just going to show you a different perspective on, on different, avenue as far as what we do, as far as right now, and only what it can do to lead us forward in our careers. So
That's
I'm
right.
excited. I'm excited to share these stories that we have too, let alone obviously the guests that we're going to get, but these stories that we have, man, it's going to really open up people's eyes and and keep open-minded, you know what I mean? Because you never know what this industry can lead you to. And the connection that we made is it's very important into what we're doing now. So that's what, the main reason why this podcast, is jumping is
Yeah.
because we have a story to tell, and we feel like our story is very important, and it will get engagement. And I'm a stand on that. I
Hmm.
am. I'm gonna stand 10 toes down. I feel like it. I just feel something good about this. So
Yeah. No, I like what you said there. We got to back ourselves. And I believe there's going to get engagement on this too. And the reason is something you just mentioned is that, um, we eventually want to be able to get to this point where we can get engagement from you, So when you're listening, the whole point is to teach you while we're also learning. So eventually we want to be having like feedback from fans and
Yeah.
feedback from the people literally asking questions like, hey, what was that like?
Mailbag.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a
Come on
goal
now.
for sure. Mailbag
Come
would
on now.
be hella fun for sure.
Because while we navigate through this world, we want to be able to answer your questions. So that's definitely a main goal of ours when we start popping, which we will. Not a if, it's a when.
Parker, why don't you tell these people, where are you from originally, man?
All right, all right, yeah. So you guys aren't gonna be surprised. One of the biggest markets in sports industry is LA, and we're all from the greater LA area. So myself, I'm an OC guy. Uh, Recent grad from quick plug, shameless plug, Chapman University. Uh, great university, up and coming in terms of probably the film school. I think that's their
For
biggest.
sure.
Yeah, I can't even say up and coming. They got names
Yeah,
coming through that school every day.
it's crazy.
But in terms of other aspects of you know just curriculum, they're definitely up and coming. I'd say with the sports field, I would like to think that I was kind of with a pretty like early crew, groundbreaking crew. So a lot of the stuff we did was just student ran, but it was still really good work. So yeah, Chapman University was a great place. OC native, grew up a little bit in the IE, which our boy DeAndre can touch on because that's where he's from.
So yeah, I'm originally from Palm Springs, and actually attended two junior colleges. Kind of ended up playing junior college basketball for 2 years. Took some time off of some basketball because felt like I needed to find myself a career because basketball for me individually, I can speak for myself that it wasn't going to take me that far. I wasn't really looking to play professionally or anything like that. So now, like I said, I went to Cal State San Bernardino, got my degree in communications, concentration in media studies, and dude, I just remember like that if people that went to San Bernardino, they understand like there's one thing you do there. You go to school and you're taking your ass back home because there's no hanging out on that campus. That's literally what you call a commuter school. There was no active things going on campus. I mean, they tried, which I'll give them their respect. They try to do some stuff on campus, but it was just we just didn't have the right students to try to do some stuff like that because everyone had one mission, and that was to get that degree and
Mm-hmm.
find a career. But San Bernardino was great, man. Learned a lot as far as everything you want to do, as far as in the news or write or being a journalist. And we had all those types of classes, and like you said, it's more like student ran. We all within each other and kind of feed off ideas off each other. So San Bernardino was a great school. It was a great fit for me. So
Yeah.
Cody Lou, I know, people want to know where you from, my guy. Because if I told them I'm actually from, they would be like, oh, really? But I ain't gonna go that far.
I'm from Pennsylvania. No, I'm just playing with you guys.
Scranton.
Parker said it earlier. I'm originally from the Los Angeles area, so the San Gabriel Valley. Grew up there most of my life. Moved out to Orange County right before college. I'm still studying communications at Cal State Fullerton. Proud Titan. Also, yeah, if you know, there are a lot of Titans out there. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. You realize you're like, hey, where'd you go to school? Cal State Fullerton. Really?
It's a big network.
It's a big network. So random, but it's awesome. Studying communications there. Heading into my last year there. I mean, in terms of that, like, I think I would say like it's cool to be a part of a school that is sort of, I would say, like, that flies a little under the radar in terms of like Cal State's for sure. And DeAndre would know this too. Like, when you're a commuter school, it's a little bit different in terms of like just like the campus culture and like what people kind of perceive the school as. But I would like for sure like recommend people going to Cal State Fullerton because it's a lot cheaper than like UC's and like going to like a private school. And that's no dig at Parker or anything like that. It's just like, it's crazy. Like when you go to the school and then afterwards you talk to people, specifically in the sports industry and especially in media, it's awesome you get a really good start, especially if you're trying to get into the media business. I know our journalism program is definitely underrated. We send a lot of students out to, news stations right after school and stuff like that. So, if you're a young college student or if you're a high schooler looking to go to school for media or journalism, I would definitely recommend Cal State Fullerton. It's an awesome program. And once you are graduated, there's a big network out there. Like I just said, it's really random, but you ask people around and you're like, where'd you go to school? Cal State Fullerton is always a school that I hear. And it just shows that like you don't necessarily need to go to like the big schools. Like, USC has a really big journalism program. I know UCLA has a really big media program. And like it's cool to have like the brand name schools, but the three of us kind of went to schools that aren't necessarily like the brand name schools. So it just proves that you can kind of get anywhere you want as long as you network and you kind of like do your thing. You'll be able to meet people for sure. And the main thing is just, getting through college and you make network and make sure you network and talk to people, because at the end of the day, that's where what work you put in is where you'll end up.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're making your own blueprint.
Exactly.
And it's ever changing. And like Cody said, that's our first piece of advice to you. Like, we just gave you our credibility, where we're from, what we do. And while we do have plenty of friends from those big schools who are either in our industry or just doing some other sort of job, and we respect them, as Cody said, it's not necessarily the only route like you may think when you're early on, looking at this industry. Like, oh, that guy went to USC, he's got to be the next, sports reporter for whoever it may be. Yeah. That's not the case. It is what you make of it. And we are, case in point, like we're exactly what that is.
If there's one thing that you would tell you, if there's one thing that you wish you would have done differently that now, what would that one thing be? And I would say, like, in your youth, probably high school, college, if there's one thing that you knew now, what would you tell yourself at that age?
That's tough. Cody. Cody, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I'm only 21, dog. Like, I don't necessarily. I think the one thing.
I hate y'all with a question now. Like, ooh,
I like that. I like the question
good.
though.
That's good.
One thing I would say. I think the one thing what was the question again?
If there is one thing that you knew now, like everything that you know now, as far as industry or about yourself,
Uh-huh.
that you would have told your younger self? What would that one thing be?
Okay. I'll answer it like this. Um, it doesn't necessarily matter where you are, what age you are. The one thing I would say is like, and this is probably catered towards younger people, but you can definitely get started like pretty damn early on. Like if you're in high school or in your middle
Hmm.
school, or like, I mean, hell, if you're a lot older, like it's never necessarily like too late to start. I would say the one thing I would tell myself, my younger self, is just like get started like super early. Like, and that could be anything. Like if you want to be on air, that's like, you know, I mean, especially now, like with all the platforms that are out there, it's so much easier for you to like make TikTok reels about like sports and everything like that. So I think if I think the one thing I would tell myself is like to just get started early, and like depending on what you want to do, if it's like, you know, camera work, or if it's like producing, or like anything in the general like media like vicinity, you can definitely get started early because there's just so many platforms out there that help you do stuff. And like, you know, it's not always easy. You can't always like buy stuff, and like, you know, there's a lot of programs out there that might like cost you money. But I think in terms of like the free access to stuff, like if you're in high school, or like even if you're like younger and you want to like be in this industry, get started early, because that only puts you ahead of everyone else that's like around the same general age.
Hmm.
And the more that you like I said earlier, the more work you put in pretty early on, the more it'll show early on too.
Yeah. No, that's huge. That's huge. And I like that answer, Cody. Um, and I'd say for people who may be in a like a similar boat as myself, where let's say, or even DeAndre, because you know, he mentioned earlier he went to a couple JCs before San Bernardino, and I did the same thing. I went to Fullerton JC. Um,
Shout
when you
out Bullerton.
shout out when you don't know your path necessarily, I'd say my one piece of advice to you is at least still get reps in. You know, like Cody mentioned, it's good to get going early, but if you didn't, that's also okay. Like there's really no timetable on success. It can happen at any point. It's just the work you put in. And for myself, it was all about just getting reps in as much as possible. You know, starting a podcast like this. I've done a couple before this. You know, interviewing people, just talking about sports. Like Cody said, you could do TikToks at any time. You could do YouTube videos at any time and just do them consistently. So I would tell my younger self like get going on that because I definitely lagged on that a little bit. But here we are now. We're getting our reps in and I'm excited to get more in.
Yeah, I would tell my younger self that it's okay to ask questions. 'Cause I was very timid, so
Mhm.
it's okay to ask questions to people who kind of are a step ahead of you, and it's okay to receive feedback. Because I was one of those who kind of took feedback the wrong way,
Mm.
and I always thought of it as a negative thing. But in reality, it's like whether it's positive feedback or negative feedback, it can only help you out. So take criticism, take feedback in any way. Um, and I think that the knowledge I had now, like you know, you guys hit on all the good points. Um, just get going, man. Like there's no perfect start to this industry, man. Like I just feel like you're gonna receive all those no's. Like I just want people to feel to understand like you're gonna get those no's, but it's okay. Like you just gotta push yourself through this industry. Like people who are in this industry, I think the biggest thing I was told, and this will always stick with me forever, is that people who are in this industry do it for the love of sports. They don't do it for the money,
Yeah.
and that hit me. Like I will never forget that saying, and I think that's like it hits like right in the money. That people who are in this, they do it for the love, and they will continue to do it because as far as you go with it, everything else will fall with it. So I think that's the biggest advice I would give.
The one thing I would also say is like, even if you're like younger and everything like that, networking. And I know these guys, all three of us kind of like broached the topic, but definitely like networking. Anybody that you can like, anyone that'll hear you out, um, will always be somebody that will eventually help you out in a way.
Yeah.
Anybody that you can get to know will always like, it's always a good thing to have. It's always a good thing to know people in different places, because you never know where you end up might you never know where you'll end up applying. And if you know somebody there, it's always helpful to have somebody to be like, hey, yeah, I know that person. I had a chat with them one time. It was really cool. They seem like, like a good fit at the company. Like networking is so crucial in this industry. It's who you know most of the time. It's like,
Yeah, no, exactly.
if you know somebody, like you always end up getting more opportunities because of that. So wherever you are in your life, like, and then you want to get started like in the media industry, I say network, 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 just because your network will kind of like help you get to where you want to go eventually.
Yeah, no, and I'm just going to add something real quick to that, Cody, because that's a great point. Early on, especially at this stage in your career, early in your career, don't be afraid to get your LinkedIn looking nice and pretty. Okay. And that goes for
Facts.
any industry. That goes for any
Just
industry.
go ahead and pay some people to do your LinkedIn profile for you.
Bro, hey,
Just
that's what I'm saying. Nah,
You can do that. I mean,
that's true. That's true.
it's not too outlandish. You can get
Hey, we got.
Chat GPT to
Yeah, I
do
was
it
about to
too, I
say we
think
got
now.
Chat
Yeah.
GPT. We
Bro,
got that.
that'd be doing everything. I'll be doing Google Slides for you. Uh, but nah, jokes aside, like,
How do you know that, Parker?
hey,
What is
whoa,
that?
whoa, whoa.
Hey,
Senior year.
hey, low key, I was messing around and got a rap song.
Oh,
Chat
bro.
From
GPT.
Chat GPT? We have to hear
Rap
that one
song.
episode. You got to perform it.
That's it. I titled it. I put it in there. I was like, hey, write me a rap song about making it out. Making it out of the hood.
Hey.
Bro, it was
And
hilarious.
Well, how good was it?
I just gotta figure out, the
Music
flow of
video
it.
coming soon.
Music video coming soon. I'll shoot it right here outside. Show you how. Start from the bottom. But
Now we here.
BluePrint on our way to Sway in the morning.
Hey,
Man,
the last time somebody named their album a Blueprint, that guy
so what
ended up
happened?
pretty damn successful.
Did pretty good
Shout
for
out.
himself.
Shout out, Hoba.
but
Oh,
now, man, like I said, this is the Blueprint podcast. I'm DeAndre Parker Bell, P Bell, my boy Cody Lou. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Expect more episodes coming soon. Stay alert.
Peace.